There is a plant growing in your lawn right now that you have been taught to hate, to poison, to dig out by the root and throw away, and it is one of the most complete medicines on the entire continent. Every single part of it is useful. The root is a liver tonic so respected that it has been prescribed for 1,000 years across 3 separate continents. The leaf is a diuretic so effective the French named the whole plant after it, and unlike the prescription water pills that flush the potassium out of your body and put you at risk, this one is itself one of the richest plant sources of potassium there is, so it replaces exactly what it removes. The flower makes a wine and a medicine, and the Pilgrims thought so highly of it that they did not leave it behind by accident when they crossed the Atlantic. They packed it on the Mayflower on purpose, as food and as medicine, and planted it in the New World deliberately. Today, Americans spend billions of dollars every year on chemicals engineered for the single purpose of killing it. You are paying a corporation to poison one of the best medicines in your own yard, and you were taught to feel good about it. This is the dandelion, Taraxacum officinale. And the story of how a treasured medicine became the most hated weed in America is the story of how an industry can rewrite what an entire nation believes about a plant in the span of a single lifetime. Welcome to Lost Plant Remedies. The written record on this plant is deep, and it spans the globe. Its medicinal use was documented in traditional Chinese medicine more than 1,000 years ago, where it was prescribed for the liver and for inflammation. Arab physicians of the 10th and 11th centuries, in the golden age of Islamic medicine, wrote about it as a remedy for the liver and the digestion. Across medieval Europe, it was a fixture of the monastery gardens, the great repositories of medical knowledge, and the herbalists of the time prescribed it for the liver, the kidneys, and the blood. The name itself is a clinical observation in disguise. Dandelion comes from the French dent de lion, the lion's tooth, for the jagged shape of its leaves, and the other old French name, pissenlit, is a blunt description of its power as a diuretic, a name no marketing department would ever have chosen, but that tells you exactly what the plant does. And here is the detail that should change how you see every dandelion you have ever stepped on. The dandelion is not a Native American weed that invaded the perfect lawn. It was brought here on purpose. When the first European colonists sailed to North America, they carried the seeds of their most important medicines and foods with them, because survival in a new world depended on it, and the dandelion was high on that list. It travelled on the Mayflower and the ships that followed, and the colonists planted it intentionally in their first gardens as a reliable source of food and medicine. The plant you're taught is a foreign nuisance. Fouling your grass was deliberately carried across an ocean by people who understood it as a treasure. Every dandelion in America is descended from a medicine someone once thought was worth the precious cargo space on a tiny wooden ship. The science confirms why they valued it so highly. The root is one of the richest known sources of inulin, the prebiotic fibre that feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut, the same fibre the supplement industry now extracts and sells in capsules. The root also contains bitter compounds, chief among them taraxacum, that stimulate the liver and the flow of bile, which is the basis of its 1,000-year reputation as a liver tonic, supporting the organ responsible for clearing toxins from your blood. The leaf is where the diuretic power lives, and this is the part modern medicine should pay real attention to, because the prescription diuretics doctors hand out by the millions for blood pressure and swelling carry a serious flaw. They strip potassium out of the body along with the water, which is dangerous enough that patients must take supplements or eat bananas to replace it. A 2009 study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine confirmed the dandelion leaf's diuretic effect in human subjects, and the dandelion leaf does not share the flaw of the drug because it is itself loaded with potassium, replacing the mineral in the very same mouthful that removes the water. It is rich in vitamin K, vitamin A, and antioxidants on top of all that. A single weed that supports your liver, feeds your gut, and acts as a potassium-sparing diuretic, growing for free in a yard you pay to have poisoned. So how does a plant the Pilgrims treasured and 3 civilizations prescribed become the thing you feel ashamed of when it shows up in your grass? The answer is one of the most successful marketing campaigns in American history, and it is barely 70 years old. After the Second World War, a chemical that had been developed during the war called 2,4-D was marketed to American homeowners beginning in 1947 as the path to a flawless lawn. An entire culture was manufactured around a single strange idea that a proper American lawn should be a perfect, uniform, sterile carpet of nothing but grass, and that any other plant in it was a defect, an embarrassment, a problem to be solved with a product. The American lawn care industry that grew out of that idea is worth well over $100 billion a year, and its entire fortune depends on convincing you that the plants growing for free in your yard are enemies. The dandelion, bright and impossible to fully eradicate and standing out so visibly against the green, became the #1 target. The chemical companies built selective broadleaf herbicides specifically to kill it, and it worked. Within 2 generations, a plant that had crossed the ocean as a treasured medicine became the universal symbol of a neglected, shameful yard, and millions of Americans now spend money every spring to poison the very plant their great-great-grandparents planted on purpose. The rest of the world never forgot. In much of Europe and Asia, the dandelion has never stopped being food and medicine. The French still cultivate improved varieties and sell the leaves in markets as a prize salad green called pissenlit. Across the Mediterranean and the Middle East, the leaves are gathered and cooked as traditional spring green. In Korea and Japan, the plant remains in regular use. Only in the manicured American suburb did the lion's tooth become a thing of shame. So let me show you how to take it back, because the dandelion is one of the safest and most generous wild plants there is, and you almost certainly have it within steps of your door. Every part is usable across the seasons. In spring, the young leaves, before the plant flowers, and while they are least bitter, are excellent raw in salads or cooked like spinach, with a pleasant bitterness that itself stimulates digestion. The bright flowers can be made into the classic country dandelion wine, or battered and fried, or infused into honey, and the root, dug in autumn when it has stored its energy, is the prize, scrubbed and sliced and either tinctured in alcohol as a liver tonic or, most beloved of all, roasted slowly in a low oven until it is dark and fragrant, and then ground to brew a coffee substitute that tastes remarkably like the real thing, with a deep roasted bitterness and none of the caffeine that generations of people drank as a daily liver support without ever calling it medicine. One honest note, because honesty is the whole point. The dandelion is remarkably safe, with a record of human use stretching back over 1,000 years, but a few sensible cautions apply, because it is a genuine diuretic and stimulates the liver and gallbladder. Anyone on prescription diuretics, blood pressure medication, lithium, or with gallstones or a bile duct obstruction should talk to a knowledgeable practitioner before using it regularly, and gather only from ground you know has never been sprayed, which rules out most lawns and roadsides, your own lawn included if you have ever treated it. The plant that is safe to eat is the one that has not been poisoned by the very chemicals this whole story is about. So consider what was done to you. The lawn chemical industry does not want you to know that the weed you are paying to kill is a 1,000-year-old liver medicine. The supplement industry does not want you to know the prebiotic fibre in their capsules is in the root you dig up and bin. They will not tell you the Pilgrims carried it across the ocean on purpose. They will not tell you the French named it for its power and still sell it in their markets. They will not tell you it is a potassium-sparing diuretic that does for free, and more safely what a prescription does for a price. They will not tell you that 2,4-D, the chemical you spray on it, was developed in a time of war. They will not tell you, because there is no profit in a plant that heals for free and grows back no matter what you do. But the plant does not need their permission, and neither do you. It is not a flaw in your lawn. It is the idea that medicine grows underfoot for free, that the knowledge of it belongs to everyone, and that no marketing campaign, however expensive, can change what a plant actually is. The dandelion crossed an ocean as a treasure and was turned into a symbol of shame in a single human lifetime. Every person who learns what it truly is takes a small piece of that lie apart. If this opened something for you, subscribe to Lost Plant Remedies before this video disappears, because we cover the plants and the forgotten knowledge that powerful industries spent a great deal of money teaching you to poison and to be ashamed of. And if you want me to walk you through making roasted dandelion-root coffee and the liver tincture yourself, along with 4 other forgotten remedies, grab my free 5-day course, The Lost Ferment, linked in the description below. It costs nothing. The Pilgrims thought this plant was worth crossing an ocean for. It is time you remembered why.